Alright everybody, this is just going to be a video explaining the buffs and nerfs that happened in this final stage of the game. So no weapons were affected, against what I will be saying in the video that will probably be uploaded after this one. There are no weapons affected, and there are more than 2 mechs, actually 5. This rebalance stage, which is the final stage, only affects mechs. First on the list is Outlaw. Oh, it's not staying zoomed in. Okay, there we go. Its mech speed got increased by 20%. I think that the original was like 21 or 22, and now it's 24. But the biggest thing for Outlaw was that the ability can now target enemies behind cover, which means it goes through walls from 100 meters base. Like, stock range without an implant is 100 meters. And there's an implant, too, that increases that by 30%. So I think that brings it up to, like, 120, 130 meters, which is just absurd. Second up is Mimicker. It got another ability boost as well. And this one affects the 4 modes that its ability has. So, first up is the stealth bonus speed that you get from scanning a scout mech. The speed boost that you get from it went up from 20 to 30%, which, I mean, isn't bad. Its shield durability that it gets from scanning tank mechs went up by 50%, so it's now 50% more durable. I think that's equivalent to an Ares or Sentinel shield. I'll have to do that I have to do the math on that later. And then mech healing speed for the ability where you scan a support mech went up by 112%. So it heals a lot faster now. But the duration for that went down by 3 seconds. So it heals faster but for a shorter amount of time. I don't have Mimicker, unfortunately, so I don't know how that's gonna look, or how that's gonna be, or how it even was in the first place. I don't know much about that. So it's kind of just a thing that happened. A third mech that got a buff is my favorite mech, Redeemer. And I'm so glad this buff happened. It shouldn't have even been debuffed in the first place. Redeemer's backtrack ability used to remove... I'll explain this in my next video. But Redeemer's backtrack ability used to remove all debuffs. They nerfed it to where you had to rank it up to rank 5 just to be able to remove 2 debuffs. Rank 6 gave you a few extra debuffs that you removed, and then when you maxed it, it let you remove all debuffs. But now it can remove all debuffs at every rank, which is very useful. Salvor got a 40% HP increase, and it also got a 49% increase to the HP that it heals itself. When you heal with Salvor, what it does is it shoots a little blob, like Solis's little blinding pods do, a little blob of health at your teammates, and it heals them, but you can also heal yourself. I have a Salvor, so I can try some gameplay with that. I just don't know if I have any good weapons for it. Pod gun, maybe? Overdriver? I don't know. we'll test. Probably tomorrow. But, so, I think it's probably still the squishiest legendary mech. But it's not as squishy as it used to be. And it heals a little bit more, which is always good. You know, you always need the extra HP. Now, this one, I just feel bad for Eclipse at this point. I don't think it needed a double nerf. I'm pretty sure this is its third nerf, actually. I don't think it needed a double or triple nerf, however many nerfs this is, to Eclipse. I kind of feel bad for it at this point. The first one was bad enough, but its phase cloak duration went down from 10 seconds to now 8 seconds, and its cooldown went from 9 seconds to 10 seconds. So it originally was 12-second duration, 8-second cooldown, I believe. And they dropped it to 10-second duration, 9-second cooldown. And now it's an 8-second duration, 10-second cooldown. Which I feel like is just absurd at this point. Shadow is a better stealth mech at this point. It stays in stealth longer than Eclipse does. The only benefit Eclipse has over Shadow is that it's not affected by debuffs except Icy Grip. But even still, it's not affected by debuffs. Yeah, those are the 5 things that happened in this stage. I feel like Eclipse shouldn't have gotten another nerf. Instead, Deathwalker and or Nomad should have gotten the nerf instead. Deathwalker has a near 20-second duration, and what technically should be like a 12-second cooldown when you get revived. However, its pity cooldown, when you just completely run out the ability without reanimating, is 8 seconds. I don't know if that's a bug or it's just a secret feature. It shouldn't exist in the first place, but it does. So instead of having to wait 12 seconds when you completely torch out, you lose 4 seconds on that. And those 4 seconds can be life or death. Obviously for Deathwalker, it's life, because these things are everywhere. And they have a 20-second, near 20-second duration, even with an implant. So, to be honest, I feel like the Outlaw buff helps with that, but it just makes every other mech worse. And the fact that it can go through shields as well. Aegis, Blockhorn, Panther, Puma, even personal shields like Ares, Juggernaut, and Sentinel. Even Mimicker. It goes through all shields, as well as walls, apparently. So, that's gonna be fun, especially for the next 3 days, where there's a 50%, there's a minus 50% cooldown modifier on all abilities. Nomad could have also gotten the nerf, because it's very broken. Eclipse got 2 nerfs, and Surge got a nerf as well. You nerfed the first 2 scouts, why not nerf the third one? You know, Lacewing is the 4th meta scout, but it's fine. There's not really much you can do about Lacewing, other than like a cooldown nerf, but that probably wouldn't do much. But Nomad gets 60% resistance, and it stacks. 60% resistance for 3 seconds, and that stacks. So, when you dash, you get 60 seconds of resistance. When you dash and hit another mech, the chain dash activates, and you have 3 seconds to dash again. However, you have your 60% invulnerability. I say invulnerability, or 60% resistance for those 3 seconds. But if you dash again, those 3 seconds stack. So if you dash, wait for the 3 seconds to get down to 1, and then dash again, you have another 3 seconds of resistance. It's madness. It's so annoying. So, either or both, make it have a longer cooldown and decrease the resistance from 60% to like 40. That's still quite a bit, but it's less than 60%, which is, again, madness. And it's better than Eclipse getting a double nerf. The first nerf was more than necessary. This one is just absurd at this point. And I don't know if Mimicker needed a buff. I think it was fine. And if anything, Salvor needed an HP buff. But that's about it. I don't think you needed a healing buff. So you could probably have just buffed... You probably could have just ignored Mimicker, silently buffed Salvor's health a bit, and you saved those other two buffs for mechs that do need it. We got Gatecrasher buffed in the stage 3, so its projectile speed is now 200% faster, I think. It also has like 80% more damage, or some pretty good numbers like that. But like Redox needs a speed buff and a health buff. Redox has less than 200,000 health. I think it's got like 170k health, which is just awful for a legendary mech. And it's the third slowest mech in the game. Compared to Arachnos and Brickhouse. Speaking of Brickhouse, I think that's a mech that could have also taken one of the buff spots. It probably just needed a health buff, if anything, and Ruffles talked about this in his video, and I'm a little bit with him. He said that Brickhouse could benefit from a health buff as well as an Overcharger radius buff, because its radius is a measly 10 meters, I think, and it could be buffed up to like 30, 40, 45 meters. It's super slow and isn't super tanky, which kind of defeats the purpose of the support mech. You know, they're supposed to support your enemies. If it's gonna be slow, it's gotta be tanky. If it's not gonna be tanky, it's gotta be fast. Like, you can't have both. A tanky and fast mech is just Nomad, but a slow and a not tanky mech is like Redox, or in this case, Brickhouse. Another thing that could probably benefit from a buff is probably Tengu. Now, hear me out now. Tengu has been long since considered an epic, or even legendary. It does not deserve... It deserves better than rare, because Tengu is such a good mech. I'm surprised that it was even rare in the first place. I'm pretty sure it was actually epic for a while, and then after a bit, it got bumped down to rare. But I don't really remember much about that. I didn't play with Tengu a whole lot as a really early player, because I always felt as if it was like today's, modern days Seeker or Nomad. It was very degenerate, is what I felt about it. I would love to play with it more, but it's not at a favorable energy. It's at rank 5, so it only has... No, it's at rank 4, so it only has 10 energy. And I don't have 900 A coins to get it up to rank 5. Not yet, but I will. It'll be fun to rank it up and play with it a bunch. But, anyways, like, some of these were a bit much. Like, Outlaws buff. I don't think it should have, okay. if you want it to go through walls, you should have decreased its range by a lot. Being able to go through, have an ability that goes through walls is astounding, let alone shields. Walls is one thing. Several mechs have abilities that can go through walls. Redox, Gatecrasher, any of the EMP mechs. Like, those can go through walls. But those have a small range around them. Outlaw can disable your enemies. Okay, technically Solus can go through walls, but only walls about 5 meters thick. Anyways, Outlaw completely shuts down your weapons and forces your ability into cooldown from 100 meters. Do you not understand how insane that sounds? Most matches are played within 100 meters. Just have an Outlaw sitting in the safe distance at the back, crashing or just have an entire squad of Outlaws. Like, if it was a 5v5, players against players, all 5 players had an Outlaw, nothing would be fun about it. There would be no fun in just 10 Outlaws repeatedly crashing each other. And it's a hell for tank mechs with really long cooldowns. Like, Bastion's cooldown is like 18 seconds. For a shield, that kind of sucks. Bastion could have used a buff. Bastion really needed a shield buff. Its EMP sucks. Its EMP duration is like 3 seconds. Which is similar to Surge, but Surge can get behind and deal tons of damage. Bastion is slow. It's a tank. But it has an awful shield. Its shield does literally no damage, and has equally as low health. Buff that, why don't you? Like, come on, Plarium. And another Eclipse nerf. We already had one Eclipse nerf. Why do we need another? The first one did enough damage as it is. Eclipse is basically going to be unplayable without Burrow Beam. And that's a whole nother thing. I'm not about to start ranting. I'm already starting to rant. I don't want to turn this into a rant video. I don't like doing that. I do it anyways, but I don't like it. Because it makes me sound insane. Like, I mean, this is insane, but to a point. I'm hoping Plarium does something about these. I'm hoping they decide, like, hey, we kind of fucked up here. Let's fix that. You know? And they fix it. Now, I get these things are intended to be permanent, but I hope they reverse Outlaws. They change something about Outlaw. They either increase the cooldown by a lot and make it similar to a tank mech's cooldown. 16 seconds. 16 to 18 second cooldown. Or they heavily nerf the range to like 60 meters. 70 meters maybe. 80 at most. Because 100 meters plus a range implant that brings it up to like 120. No, that's an I don't like that. And some of these things didn't even need buffs. Like, Mimicker didn't need a buff. Mimicker was fine. Mimicker was Mimicker. It kind of just existed. Like Onyx or Gatecrasher, they kind of just exist. They're simply there to be there, and when you do see somebody playing them, you're like, ooh, cool, I want to try that. And it's kind of like a thing. It didn't really need a buff. Neither did Salvor. Maybe a silent health buff. I don't know, maybe take back the nerf on Eclipse and give it to Deathwalker or Nomad. I'm starting to like Deathwalker a lot less. I'm starting to lose my hatred for Nomad and start bringing it more towards Deathwalker and Parasite. Seeker's starting to catch flames too, but it's not there yet. It's not there yet. Parasite and Deathwalker, however, pretty far up there. I get parasites a newer mech. Like, come on, man. Don't do this to us. Well, that's this, I guess. I don't know how much editing I'll have to do on this. Probably not a whole lot, just a few tweaks here and there, but... anyways, if you want to have me talk more about this, please let me know down in the comments, as well as what you think about this. I would love to know everybody's thoughts on, how this, how you feel about this. It's just wild. I will, probably have some follow-up with this later throughout the week, but other than that, I got nothing else. With that, all good things must come to an end. That includes this video, but I wouldn't call it good. This was kind of just thrown together last minute. I've been seeing a bunch of people talking about this, and I was like, might as well do something about it. Anyways, hope y'all have a good rest of your day, evening, afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Deuces.